Okay. So we left off at a point where Eugenia Cooney was talking about her issues, and it was about to cut over to what the doctor had said at the beginning. Not her doctor, just a doctor. And then it'll probably just come back in. Actually, we'll just rewind it a little bit, right? Because she's talking about her experience at like a rehab facility. So, just to bring us back up to date.
Inpatient is where I work. I didn't work in a hospital setting. I worked in an inpatient where it's like a home, and they're all working together, and there's groups and
The hell?
observations they call it to make sure that you aren't like throwing food away or throwing it up or compensating in some fashion.
Yeah, and like all those steps that she talked about make sense, right? Because like you've got to make sure that somebody going through a rehab type scenario for anything isn't doing things to cut corners to cheat the system, that they're actually going through the program, and you have to monitor their blood, their weight, their health. That way you know what's going on with them in a way that's beyond just what they're willing to tell you. You have to actually monitor it, right? So all these things make sense. Someone being outside the door, still that makes sense because that's once again they're preventing you from being able to puke up things that you've eaten and just substitute, say, anorexia with bulimia, right? So that's important too.
Okay, so you're monitored a lot. And were you put on a food plan? Was there like
Like that makes sense for people with like anorexia, right? Where like you're not eating at all. So part of what you have to do, the fuck go away. Part of what you have to do if you're in a situation where you're just like not even just anorexia, but if you're just starving, is you have to ease yourself back into food. Like if like a survival type situation, right? Like if you just are in a situation where you don't really have access to food, and then after say like a week or 2 weeks, even if you just fast for that long, you have to get yourself back used to food. You could go out and when you eat for the first time, you're going to want to binge. You're going to want to just eat a lot because your body isn't used to having food anymore if you've starved it, right? So in that situation, your body wants to consume more than it's capable of because over time of not eating, your stomach will actually shrink. So you're not capable of having proper portion sizes. So you should be having smaller portions and slowly be building yourself up to the proper portion size. Like, and the thing is if you're in a situation where like you're just not eating, you're anorexic or something along those lines, it's a good point to actually get yourself to eating the proper portion sizes instead of large portion sizes as well, right? If that's your issue. Like if you're like even just not like an eating disorder issue, but if you're just somebody who's wanting to say fix your diet, fix your weight, whatever it may be, you could fast for 3 days, you could fast for a week, and at the end of that period of time your stomach will have shrunk down and you can just build yourself up to a proper portion size instead of eating to excess because your stomach is stretched because of the portions that you're used to eating. You can actually just get it to be full with a smaller portion size through that process as well, which, depending on how much of a portion size you typically eat, like if you're eating massive portion sizes, you may want to just fast for, say, 3 days and then reduce your portion size, and then next month maybe 3 days again, reduce your portion size. Fasting, you'll deal with being hungry, but it's not going to kill you. You're fine.
Can seem like a lot when you're like going in there and suddenly like having to like eat so much. So yeah, that.
But if you're dealing with an eating disorder like this, you don't need to fast. You've been fasting forever. You're on the portion of that where you're eating, right? Just to be perfectly clear for some of the people who think that they need to comment like I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Kind of hard at first. And you know, while I was there, like, I was kind of honestly like surprised. Like, I wasn't really like when I moved out to LA, I wasn't really like regularly weighing myself. And then when I did like find out how low my weight was like compared to before, it was kind of like shocking to me because I guess I didn't even realize like I had people telling me
So I want to point this out.
regularly weighing myself. And then when I did like find out how low
Listen,
my weight was like compared to regularly
again,
weighing myself. And then when I did like find out how low my weight was,
how well my weight was. Now think about this for a second. Her own words. When I found out how well my weight was. So she's viewing her weight after this period where she started figuring out how good her weight is as a good thing. And I'm pointing this out because of dum-dums that decided to comment as if criticizing somebody looking too thin, saying that they have the potential to be more attractive if they looked more well, if they looked more healthy, instead of looking frail, instead of looking like they're going to shatter into a million pieces, instead of looking like a bat instead of a human, proves my point exactly. If you're dealing with this in a way that that is somehow a compliment to you, to look like a bat, to look well or to attractive means that you're fat and ugly, then that is you still needing to deal with the mental side of this, which is exactly my point. Whereas once you've dealt with the mental side of this, where you don't deal with thinking, oh my God, well, if I'm doing well, then I'm fat, which is your mental state, then obviously you're on a better path. And I'm not going to dumb down my words to make somebody feel like I'm not being somehow aggressive or whatever the hell they want to say about it. I personally don't give a shit. Thing is, criticism comes from a place of truth if it's done in a constructive way. And that's exactly what I've done. You can take it and internalize it as somebody who's being a dick, and that's on you. That is entirely on you. The truth of the matter is, somebody who knows that they're not well, but denies it to such a point that they've built a delusional state in their mind around a mental health issue, that person needs help. If they don't take constructive criticism as something that is constructive, they instead see it as some sort of insult, or like they've built up some sort of lie about their body that tells them that that constructive criticism is a compliment. That's a reflection of their mental state, not reality.
like compared to before, it was kind of like shocking to me because I guess I didn't even.
And to be clear, if somebody's in that position where they're dealing with that mental state, you don't have anything you could possibly say that's going to be helpful. Nothing is going to be helpful. All you can do is be supportive of them becoming healthy in some way, but everything that you say is going to be digested in a way that's building up this false image of what they want and what they desire versus what they need and what is healthy. So they're just trying to build up an imperfection, which is disgustingly wrong.
I was kind of honestly like surprised. Like I wasn't really like when I moved out to LA, I wasn't really like regularly weighing myself. And then when I did like find out how low my weight was like compared to before, it was kind of like shocking to me because I guess I didn't even realize like I had people telling me, like my mom and you know a lot of like some of my friends and stuff. but I guess I didn't like really see that it was getting to that point, really. So at the same time, like I guess I knew like I just had to do it, and like I had to like follow the program and like do what I had to do. But yeah, it definitely like when you're going into it, it can definitely seem like a lot, and like isn't exactly the easiest. So
For a lot of people that use.
That's fair. To say like it's a lot to do to correct my habits, and it's not the easiest thing, is an understatement because of the fact that there is the mental battle to it as well, where she's built up this delusion of how she should look and thinking that that looks good and that that looks healthy, while also having to come to a place where she knows it's not, even with people telling her that that's not healthy, that that doesn't look good, that she does look like she's in an unhealthy place. But for some reason, internalizing that to be the opposite, right? Like that makes going through the path of recovery very difficult, to put it quite simply.
So everyone knows it's gaining weight, and that's like your biggest fear. But that is part of the recovery process, and a lot of people don't want to talk about that because it's like hard for people who are in it. I get a lot of questions every month about like how do I love my body at this weight. It's just like anything. You should just talk nicer to yourself about it.
I feel like it makes me look like eating disorders are so hard because you have to eat to live, right? So it's like my issues with food I struggle with daily because I
Uh-huh.
have to eat. So it's almost like a
Yeah, you got to eat. Like so something you could do maybe to balance this out, right? Is you have to eat to survive, but if you're worried about gaining weight, then why not gain healthy weight? Meaning, make sure that you're not just eating junk food. Eat foods that are better for you. Like, eat foods that are actually whole foods. Like, don't eat pre-made meals. Don't eat fast food. Actually, just make your meals from scratch, right? And then exercise. That way, you're burning off those calories in a healthy way to develop muscle. And you don't have to develop muscle in a way that makes you like prime Arnold or Francis Ngannou or any of these guys. You don't have to build muscle that way. You can just exercise in a way that really is just toned instead of muscle mass. It's toned muscle, and it's just a different form of exercise. Like it's still running, it's still lifting weights, swimming, doing push-ups or whatever. It's just a difference in how many you do, the amount of weight you do, the amount of repetitions you go through. It's things like that, and you can talk to a personal trainer and tell them like what your goals are. Like, hey, I don't really want to build a lot of muscle mass. I just want to make sure that I'm burning the calories that I'm eating and that I'm going about it the right way. And you'll be able to attain the right figure where you can be happy with your body. You're thin, you're healthy, you're not gaining an unhealthy weight, you're gaining healthy weight, right? You can do those things. Like it's not too bad. You can do it for sure. It's just you might need to talk to somebody who knows how to do it if you don't know how, or maybe if even if you know how, but you lack the motivation and you need somebody to push you. That's what personal trainers are for. They're there for information and they're there to help push you to do the things that you need to do when you need that push. You still have to show up. You still have to go, damn, I got to go to the gym and just put your shoes on and get over there. But at the same time, that trainer is going to be there to push you. That's their entire purpose. It's their whole job. And if you need that, go ahead and get it. It's not bad. And it'll help you. Like I said, you have to eat, but you don't have to get fat. There's a difference between healthy and fat, right? You can you can maintain that healthy balance.
constant, like being an alcoholic and having to drink every. It's like a
Uh-huh.
weird like thing. I guess I'm trying to understand how you like got over that.
What's your favorite fruit? I don't know. Maybe apples or something, cause like they're cool.
Or are you? Or are you still figuring that out?
Like cuz they're cool. Like see that's an issue too. Like the thing is if you eat fruit, you're going to feel full but you're not going to gain a lot of calories, right? So you're going to get vitamins out of the fruit. You're going to have a stomach that's not hungry because you're putting stuff in it, but you're never going to eat enough fruits or vegetables to actually gain weight. You won't do it. You're not going to gain the calories off of them to do it, which is why a lot of vegetarians supplement with things like carbs, right? They eat a lot of noodles, a lot of pasta, a lot of bread, a lot of these types of things that really, if you're not exercising, turns into fat. So it gives off a false impression of the way that that kind of diet works.
I definitely say I'm doing a lot better with things now, and that now I'm definitely like trying to make sure that like I'm eating enough and not like letting things get back to the point that it was at. Wow, you're in it, like it definitely like seems like so much sometimes. They'll get you like breakfast and all of that. Then later they'll come in and like you'll have like a snack. Then later they had lunch, and then they had like another snack, and then so it's a lot of I guess like eating.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
Okay, I'll move.
Yeah, they're just trying to get you used to the idea of eating being a normal thing and being okay, right? That's all that is. It's trying to condition your mind to eating being something that's normal. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it because it is normal. It is fine. There is nothing wrong with it. It is, like Shane said, necessary. You have to do it. And that's why they make you do that in this rehab, is because they're trying to condition your mind to correct the pathways you've created that make you think of eating as a bad thing.
yeah, so
What was
definitely.
the food? I know this is like totally a
Oh,
pointless
no,
question,
you're.
but what was the food? Like, what was it? Was it good or was it kind of like?
Taste-wise, it wasn't really like too bad. Usually, like breakfast, they had like pancakes or some like egg sandwich thing or something.
Like muffins?
So, yeah, it kind of. Yeah, so they would. I was something
That sounds great.
like that.
That sounds great. But I'm also somebody who will regularly make, like, I'll toast a bagel, fry up some sausage and an egg, and I will make myself a bagel sandwich all the time. It's so delicious. This is one of my favorite things ever. I'll do it with an English muffin too. I'll English muffin, make myself a McMuffin all day long. Don't challenge me with a delicious good time.
And then they would make me like either like a banana or like a fruit cup kind of thing.
I knew it. That's what I'd be checking that out.
Yeah, and then like then snacks. Sometimes you would be able to be like crackers or like chips. They would give you like fries and stuff like
Oh
that. So
wow.
yeah, so
So, what was a typical day before treatment? Did you eat? Like, how did you have so much energy? What, have you talked? I don't want to.
oh no,
I'm
you're
just.
all good. Don't
I'm sorry.
worry.
I'm
It's
so
totally
like. I just don't
okay.
want to.
See, he's worried about saying something that's going to be upsetting or set her back, which is, it's an understandable concern from like the outside looking in. I'm sure she understands the concern as well to some extent, right? Because she knows that he cares about her, which is why he's able to have the conversation, which is why she wanted him to do this, right? So it's an important dynamic to understand. If it was just you, random stranger, trying to have this conversation with her, it's not going to be accepted the same way. The the person who makes the statement has so much more influence on the way that someone will digest that like that input. You may take it more negatively from one source than another. You may take it more positively from somebody else than you would, like your best friend, for instance. It just depends. It all depends on who it is, your relationship to them, and the way that it's delivered. It's such a complicated thing to break down, but it's understandable that he is like torn between asking these questions and not asking them, but at the same time, for her to be able to share her story and to maybe have a positive impact on other people who deal with this, she has to be asked them. So it's it's a double-edged sword kind of situation where like he's got to bite the bullet and just ask the questions, and she's already said she's okay with it, right? So it's, to me, it's a bit silly that he's beating himself up over asking questions, but at the same time, I'm not him, right? So, and you also have to keep in mind he's gone through a similar thing, so he understands the complication of something simple being able to set you back so far.
Are your feelings okay? Because I mean,
No,
I'm
no,
just so
you're
like,
I no, it's totally fine. It's I guess I'm kind of lucky that like, a lot of people would like even like make videos, and this is kind of I guess like another reason
That's so that the way you can see her handprint stay there like that is concerning for more reasons than food. If your handprint stays there like that for so long, that is also a sign of dehydration to a high level. That is problematic for a whole different set of reasons.
take things like that seriously when people would like make like concerns or sometimes like hateful comments. Like people would like make theories that like my hair is fake and crazy theories like that. And honestly, like it never has been. Like it's not. It was, and they said like there's no way your hair could actually be like that. Like it's not real. It's either all extensions or hair is a wig. It's definitely not our
yeah.
hair.
And I feel like I should already know this, but is hair loss a thing that
I
happens?
guess it can be for some people. It can be like the side effect that will happen is like some people.
It would make a lot of sense for people to lose hair that are anorexic because you're not getting the nutrients your body needs to maintain things like fingernails, toenails, hair, things of this nature. So it's just like, for instance, if you're out in the cold, right? If you're out in the cold long enough, you start getting frostbite. What are the first things to get frostbite? Your fingers and your toes. Why? Why does it start at your extremities? Because they're not necessary. You will live without your hands, your arms, your legs, your fingers, your toes. Obviously not in that order. It's in the order that your body starts to get cold and the order that your body gains frostbite. You don't need those things to live. You don't need your hair to live. So it makes sense if you're depriving your body of necessary nutrients and vitamins that you would start losing hair. She's probably just lucky that that didn't take place with her in that regard, to be quite honest.
Will lose hair and they'll have like body damage and stuff like that, which I guess I was really lucky that I didn't experience any of that because I guess it could have ended up being like that and could have ended up being like a lot worse.
Would you do a what I eat in a day video? No, I don't think I would.
And I was still like eating every day, but I guess it just wasn't really like that much, which for me, I guess I just kind of wasn't really like realizing that I like should have been eating more, I guess. Um,
I wouldn't ask her what she ate.
Okay.
Um, but in my experience, they do eat. It's just not very much. But I wouldn't ask her.
Yeah, and that would make sense. Like that you would eat but not much, right? That would make sense. Like maybe you just had a piece of toast and that's what you ate all day, right? Like you're eating something, but you're not really eating much of anything.
What she eats.
and like yeah, sorry, I'm like totally like all around the place. Sorry.
No, this is it.
Or or even like you, let's say like you look at your plate of dinner as a normal plate of dinner, reduce that to, let's say, 1/10 of the size, right? So like let's say you had steak, mashed potatoes, and Brussels sprouts. Cut 90% of that meal out, right? And that's all day long. That's that's the type of thing that they're saying is, or that doctor is saying is probably typical, right? Is something that's that small and it's all day long. It's not multiple times a day. That's it. That's what you're eating all day.
Were the doctors just like, how are you? Like, how did you survive? Like, cause it is.
Honestly, yeah. Like
Okay.
some of them, they were kind of surprised that I was lucky and didn't really have like a lot of like bad effects from it. I guess when they kind of saw that like my weight was always more on like the low side, I guess they kind of maybe thought like, oh, okay, well maybe that's why it's not as bad as it could have been. I was really lucky that I had like really good doctors that were monitoring me and making sure that nothing was too much for me to like handle. And like, I'm definitely not like an expert. or
Goddamn
anything
fly.
Like that, but yeah, like,
We're gonna take care of this fucking problem. Tell you what. Where'd it go? It's so annoying. This fly is literally flying right in front of my eyes, like 2-3 inches from my face. It's so fucking annoying.
like sometimes I think it's called refeeding syndrome. Is I think that's the word
What's
for
that?
it. If you just suddenly start like feeding someone like crazy,
Pick up a burger and have some food. It's not how this works.
Yeah, the refeeding syndrome is similar to what I was saying, right? And like what I was talking about, I learned going through survival school. Because they put you through situations where they do starve you. They put you through situations where they do dehydrate you. So that you become familiar with what it's like to not have water for 2 days. You figure out what it's like to not have food for say a week or so, right? Aside from whatever you can find in the wilderness or procure from the wilderness. So they put you through these things going through that training. Oh, you fucking bitch. I'm going to get it one of these times. It's going to get zappity, zapped so good. I can't wait. This fly's pissing me off. Anyway, they put you through these situations when you're going through that kind of training so that you're familiar with it and you know kind of what to expect. And because of that, that's where I got my information on it, right? So it's a different situation than what somebody who's dealing with, say, an eating disorder is going to deal with. But at the same time, it is what it is, right? Like there's a similarity there to you've been starved for several days and now all of a sudden you're just turned loose. You know what we did? As a class of like 110, we went to the buffet in town. You know what happened? We all had like a plate of food and then wanted to die because it was too much. It was too much food.
I'm not exactly sure like what like the bad things that happen are, but it can actually be really, really dangerous.
That's why eating disorders are the most deadly mental illness, is because it leads to heart attack. Our body.
Yeah, exactly. Like because you've starved yourself for such a long period of time that it's more. The dangers of it are far higher. Like for us, you're starved for such a short period of time, right? That what the danger is that you just overeat and you get sick. That's the danger for like when we went through survival school. If you've starved yourself for say years where you're eating a minimal amount of food and then you go through and you're like, oh, you know what, we can eat, and you just start all of a sudden eating and you're going through and you're binge eating, you're probably going to set yourself up for like a heart attack because it becomes exponentially more dangerous because your body's not used to digesting food correctly. It's not used to having food in it that way anymore, and it could cause a lot of issues. So that makes a lot of sense as well.
Body eats away at its fat, and then it's muscle, and your heart's a muscle. So
Like because like the reason I take it to that kind of an extreme is because in survival school they did highlight that if you go the longer that you go without food, how did they word this? So I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't remember exactly how it was said, but it was something along the lines of the longer you go without food and the more starved your body is, the worse the side effects become. They didn't really elaborate on that, but they did use the Holocaust as an example of like they couldn't just hand the survivors a full-on meal. They had to gradually get them food. Like, here's oatmeal. Have a bowl of oatmeal. here's some more food, here's some more food, and just slowly start getting them more portion sizes as things went, but not denying them food, just not allowing them to overeat at the same time. It was like a very monitored effort. And I don't know that it started that way, to be honest. It may have been something that they fucked up the first time, and then they realized allowing them to just eat has caused some of them to die because their body's not used to food. So it may be one of the hard-learned lessons. Like, the harsh reality of the way the military learns things is people die, and then they go, hey, that's a bad idea. Let's do things different. Let's try it this way. Oh, hey, look, we had less people die, so this is a better method, but it's still not acceptable. So let's try something else. Let's figure out what portions of our new plan are working out correctly and implement those and build on those and eliminate the things that are not. And that may be one of those situations where it was a hard-learned lesson. I don't know the specifics of it. I just know that that is how they had to do it, was slowly integrating them back into eating normal amounts of food.
That's why eating disorder is the most deadly mental illness, is because it leads to heart attack. Our body eats away at its fat, and then its muscle, and your heart's a muscle, so it slowly gets weaker, and then
Yeah, and eventually your heart can't function.
And so I've had patients where
Like your heart, your brain, all these things are muscles, right? Most of your organs are muscles. Your stomach and some, like, these things are muscles. Your kidneys, your liver. If these things stop functioning, your body dies. And that's why I was saying, like, your body's going to say, well, then fuck your hair. Fuck your nose. Fuck your ears. It'll start just eroding things that it doesn't need to concentrate on the things it does. Same way as it does with frostbite. It will sacrifice unnecessary things for you to stay alive to support the things that you do require. And eventually, it can't do that anymore. And everything will fail.
heart monitors, and they go into treatment, and they are tube fed for a while, and then they get back onto solid foods, and then they're discharged.
It's definitely, I think, good that if you have like a team that's just kind of making sure that you're not just like, like being like, oh, eat a burger
I
and a
want
bag of
that
chips.
fly to fly into that zapper
Like a
so
lot of
bad.
person to just like handle it once. So definitely something you need to be like careful about. So
Have you thought about, like, when you come back, to your channel, are you
yeah.
gonna, and I know it's still such a personal thing, but even for me, it's like talking about the food thing.
Japanese snacks? I don't really know Japanese snacks, but I'm sure they're cool.
And maybe it's just me, all my issues rely with food, but like with you, is that something that you think you're probably never gonna do? Because you're like, I just don't even want to put that out. It's just like my thing.
And I think like now if people like ask me like food related questions, like I would be like more able to talk about that. Still is kind of like uncomfortable where like you have
Like, and it makes sense. Like, all these people making videos, like, oh, she won't talk about what she eats. Like, why would she? If she's not really eating much of anything, why would she talk about what she eats? Like, that's ridiculous. It's not like me being like, oh, I'm definitely going to have steak and potatoes. I'm going to have a pizza today. I'm going to have, like, a Philly cheesesteak and French fries. Like, I eat food in a random assortment of whatever sounds good. Somebody who doesn't eat much food isn't going to talk about it. Somebody who's on, like, my 600-pound life, do you think that person wants to talk about what they eat? Fuck no. Like, people who have a disorder of a thing don't want to talk about it. Like, people who have PTSD do not want to talk about their PTSD, right? People who have, how do I say it without getting flagged for stuff? People who've been through, unsolicited and undesired physical interactions with other people. Do you think they want to talk about it? No. People don't want to talk about the things that cause them distress. People don't want to talk about the things that cause them to feel like an outcast or less than or damaged. It's naturally not something that we desire to talk about or to share because it makes us feel weak. And when you feel weak in that way, you feel vulnerable. When you're vulnerable, you're a target. So naturally, through evolution and over time, humanity's evolved a way of just avoiding these things in discussion because we try to ignore that they exist. It makes sense.
Really talked about that online at all, and suddenly people, I guess, are almost like expecting you to, and they're kind of like expecting you to like come back and just like, yeah, basically. Which I guess that's kind of like, awkward. I guess I'm just like expecting.
That'd be really weird.
But
Oh.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. This is gonna be kind of like different, I guess. But I think I'd be like more willing to like like talk about the subject though, and I think I would still also want to make like just like videos that like about things I enjoy, because I also think like that's a really important thing that like sometimes I think like if like for me like it was just kind of that's all people would talk about, and people kind of treat you like there's like nothing more to you, like there's nothing else that like you're really like that people like care about, and like you're almost like not even like a human. And I think it like is like important for people to know that whether they're dealing with like an eating disorder or another type of mental health problem or like whatever, that that isn't like who they are. Like there is a lot more to them than just that, and that they shouldn't feel like their whole identity is just that one thing. And
And that's important to know as well. Like treating people like that one aspect of their life is their entire identity is incredibly damaging, and it's going to cause more issues. Even if it doesn't send them into like a relapse or something of that nature, it'll create new issues, worse issues. So like the thing is, people are very complex creatures. You're not defined by just one thing. It's just a part of your story. It's not something to run from or hide from, but it is part of your story, which is why I keep saying her going through the recovery process, if she were to share it more, and I don't know if she did or not, right? I don't know if when she came back and started making videos, if she was more open about it, if she talked about it, if she shared more about it than what we've seen in this video. But even like with the last video we saw from her, where it looks like she's clearly gone back to her anorexia, if we had a situation where she said, look, I've been struggling with my disorder again, and I need to get that corrected, and I'd really like you guys to just leave me alone about food and let me go through it. And if she just shared like, I'm going to have this today, I'm going to have that today, and just kind of talked about how many times she eats in a day instead of what she eats a day, or if she wanted to share like, hey, I'm going to eat this today, or I ate this yesterday, or yesterday I ate this many times, I think it would help build her channel still. Like, I really think it would help build her channel. I think it would help build her presence online and all those other things, because of the fact that it's not just a recovery story, it's a redemption story. And a redemption arc is the trope in storytelling that people, especially in Western civilization, like to hear and see and be part of the absolute most. They love a redemption arc. Somebody who's fallen, somebody who's flawed, somebody who's got terrible background and overcomes that and becomes something better. That is something that people truly love far more than any other kind of story. And I think it would help her immensely if she found a way that she's comfortable with doing that and going through it to correct herself again, because it seems like she needs to do the correction again, which it's not bad to need to do again. It's just bad to ignore doing when you know it needs done.
there's like a lot more to people than just like what they're going through, like their disorder that they're dealing with. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I would definitely like to help people like if I'm able to a little bit. But yeah, guess I'm not like the expert, but
I love you.
oh,
Okay.
I love you
That was
too.
Yeah, and actually, her going through how she keeps bringing up, like, if it could help people, if it can help people, if it can help. This is a theme that she has with this, is her going through this. She wants her story to be able to help people. She could do that by just simply sharing, going through it, and being like, look, I went through the whole rehab thing the first time. Maybe I need to do that again. And when I come back, I'll be more open and document what I'm doing and how I'm going through things. That way, it's able to help more people, because people who cannot afford rehab can see what the process is. They can figure out what it is that they need to do and try to implement it themselves, because it's all that they can afford. So it's, it's complicated, it's complex, but at the same time, I think she's in a great position to be able to do something along those lines. She just simply has to want to do it and go through it.
Oh, great. I love
Thank
what you
you.
just said.
Aw.
Well, okay. On that note,
Yeah.
what do you want to? What do you do? Like, what do you enjoy? So, like, let's.
Yeah.
Eating disorder. Got that. Okay, great. Now what? What do you do? What do you like having fun with?
So, like we were talking about, I like makeup a lot and stuff like that, and like even though like I'm not like the best at it, it's always just been something like I really enjoy, and how you can like be creative with it and do a lot of stuff with that. So I like fashion in general and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah. What is that?
oh, this is a spirit head. Yeah, you can try it on if you want. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I
It's like
kind
a
of.
scarf hat thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those things are
That's
weird.
probably
So.
the one thing you think I'll fit in. Actually, no. My head's big. I
No,
probably won't
it
fit
will
the
look
spirit
great
hat.
on you.
Okay. Wait. Yeah. Where's like your makeup stuff? Where's
Yeah,
your stash?
actually,
I'd assume, well, I don't know, is she gonna come back to YouTube around when this is launched then? Because maybe she'll film one for her channel too.
Yeah, okay, yeah, these are gonna be the gazelles. You have to love that versatility. That's why this is such an iconic pair of shoes. Shopping with Google makes it easy to find the right shoe for your swimming occasion. I think you look really
Look here, Google.
right now, Drew.
I hate buying shoes online because nobody sells shoes for wide ass motherfucking feet, and I have wide ass motherfucking feet.
do you? Oh, it's really good.
This where you could actually hear what she's saying and guiding him through learning how to do his eyeliner better is the type of video that she could probably make and do very well with, and just not really have to draw any attention to herself at all. She just has to not be body checking and worrying about how she looks the whole time, right? Like, and that's part of what I really like about this video. She doesn't seem to have been concerned about how she looks the whole time. It's not giving off this creepy, weird vibe. It's like, she seems so much better, just mentally and physically. It's so much better. I really hope that she comes back to a place like this, because where she's at in that other video we saw is a place that's just disturbing, it's concerning, and it's just not healthy all around. And that's why it's disturbing, is because you can tell on a mental level as well as a physical level, she's not well.
It's not you, it's me. But I just need some space to breathe.
So have you been you missed all the beauty guru drama?
I think I saw like a little bit of that, but I like missed. That seems so crazy. It was a lot of drama.
Yeah, that could be your first video back.
Yeah, hey guys, today I'm gonna be talking
My
about
thoughts on the drama.
James Charles.
Not mentioning your eating disorder at all. Today we're going to be talking about the drama.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Do it.
I'm gonna do that.
Drama farm the shit out of it.
I actually did have an idea for you.
Really?
I think, and we can do it together or you can do it.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
But I think you should do a video called What I Missed While I Was in Rehab.
Actually, yeah, that would be a really good idea. You could like tell me what happened, because I probably don't even know like half the stuff that's been going on.
I definitely do.
Oh, I bet.
I'm gonna need that number to wherever you went. Just go there and have to take my phone away and give me fries.
Take my phone away and give me fries. That's a funny ass line. I'm not gonna lie. Just take away my phone and give me fries. I'll be happy as fuck.
Oh, it looks so good. That's like my favorite spearhead, so.
Oh, I just saw it in the mirror.
See, it looks great.
channel and just was like, hey guys. Rehab went great.
with one eye that has makeup done. That's actually hysterical. He's got one eye with makeup and the spirit hood. It's hilarious.
I'll just sit down for some.
Oh yeah, you can sit. This one might not work.
When's the last time you did something for your chin?
Actually, like December-ish or January. Yeah.
Oof.
That one. Hey guys, it's Eugenia. As you know, I was away in a rehab program for a while, and now I'm back from that. And I think while I was away there, I went through a
She just looks happier. Like, genuinely happy. Not like she's pretending to be happy, but genuinely happy. And once again, look just like her knees, right? That looks so much better. It just, like, it doesn't look frail and like she's about to explode. Her knees looked like ticking time bombs before, right? Like, it's concerning when you see that.
good cut.
Okay, last thing that happened. You left theater.
I know.
I am very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
And I don't want anything cheesy, but this, I think that's the thing too that's so crazy and so cool to think about is like she, like to me is the epitome of like, and I don't even know if this is wrong to say, but people were like, oh, there's no hope. Like the videos were so aggressive at the end. This is it. Like let's stop trying to help her. Like it's bad, you know. And then being with you and hearing what you've been through and also just your attitude.
Yeah, people. It seems very clear that people got extremely terrible toward the end, which is, I mean, it's expected, but that doesn't make it better, right? People are dicks.
It's all been very like, but the fact that she is, I think, doing better is like, I don't want to use the word.
She seems like she's doing better in this video.
I mean,
Oops, because maybe that sounds offensive, but it has.
Aw.
anybody doing better, you could say, is like a miracle. Because we all know it's hard to be motivated. Like it's hard.
Yeah,
to
motivation is really
Let's
hard.
talk about, oh, therapy makes
It
you
is very hard to be
love.
motivated
Therapy's
for
the hardest
anything.
fucking thing you'll ever do. Like, 'cause you actually have to strip away all the bullshit of whatever you do and like look inside and be like, oh, I don't like that about myself and I want to fix it. And that can be hard, you know. So I think it's always a miracle. I'm glad she got help. This is awesome.
I really hope that she doesn't wait as long to get help again.
Positivity.
Yes, positivity. That can be like our drama channel. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
It's like in this video, she looks great.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay.
Oh my god.
That's so fun.
And she looks great in that whole video, right?
What do you think the reason for this situation was? Like bigger picture.
Yeah. Not that like I'm the perfect example or like expert or anything like that, but
Has anybody ever tried this?
actually I don't think so. If like some people maybe
It's just there for decoration. Nobody uses it.
and now I think doing a lot better. Is your Uber here? I hope you have a great ride back.
We die.
No. Don't die.
Imagine.
That would not be good. Then really
Jesus.
cool if, like maybe some people that are going through a hard time or an eating disorder or like anything know they can like get through that and that there is like help for them and that people do care about them a lot.
Okay, if you need anything, text
Yeah, me
me,
too.
call me.
And to hopefully they can try to like stay positive through that and just like know that they can get through that. So I think that's cool at least.
I just wanna find a way to get out of my mind. Craving validation from some people I don't like.
So basically, it's a meme of this drag queen, and then she goes, "And I oop."
Really? What does it mean?
So "and I oop" is like when you.
The hell?
It's like when you're scrolling through Twitter and you're just like, "Oh my god, I feel so good today," and then you see a tweet and people are like, "Kill yourself" or something crazy.
Oh.
We've seen those.
Rehab thing and coming back to the internet and all that. So there you have it. And that was a really good story, to be honest. For especially like for me not having any like real context to it. I think I should use this one. Like not having really any context to fuck it. We're going to use this cuz it's just how it is. But not having any context to her story or her past or what she's done, what she went through, aside from just what we saw in the video with her cooking with her mom. And the fact is, having gone through the rehab thing once and admitting she has the issue, at least to herself, even, and as well as, like, obviously Shane and making the video with him about it, the fact is, it should. That video that we saw is much more recent than this longer video that we just finished, and she doesn't look like she's doing as well in that video as she did in the one we just finished. So hopefully she recognizes it and does something to correct, whether it's going back to rehab or just taking steps on her own.